The throne room of the heavens was silent. Not empty, never empty, but still, timeless. Beyond stars, beyond sound, beyond the beating of hearts. Naraka walked forward slowly. Even a god such as he felt his spirit tremble in this place. He dropped to one knee, head low, eyes to the ground. No words, just awe. Then came the voice.
You have a problem you haven't brought to me.
It was not angry, it did not shout, but it cut through the room like thunder without a storm. Naraka kept his head low.
Yes, my lord. In 2 days, your people will call on you. They plan to open the gates of heaven. That, Naraka, is my concern. Why did you not come to me?
Naraka said nothing at first. Shame burned through him.
I am dealing with it,
He said finally, softly.
I had hoped I could stop it myself.
The throne above him stayed quiet. Then the voice spoke again, slower now, sharper.
These are not ordinary people. They carry our breath in their bones. They were carved in flame and spirit, just like us. They speak the old tongue. They know the ancient ways. They are demigods, Naraka.
Naraka nodded once.
I know.
If it were humans doing this, I would not be troubled. But these lion people, they are yours, and you are theirs. They have the right to summon you, and if they manage to bind you, to trap your essence into a ring or a stone or a sword, it will not be sin. It will be by law. Heaven will not intervene. You may be their god, Naraka, but they are gods in part. And you might spend eternity in a prison made by your own blood.
Naraka's jaw clenched. He lifted his head slowly.
Then so be it. I am their god. If they call me, I must answer. I will not hide behind the heavens.
You are watching the Tales of the Savannah. Subscribe and be part of the tribe. Now let's get back to the story. A pause. Then came the voice again, now deep with concern.
You are proud, but there is danger for you here. I have angels, Naraka, beings of war. They can take care of this. Why must you go yourself?
Naraka stood now, his eyes steady.
Because they disobey. They dishonor what is holy. They twist what is pure. And it is I they are trying to command. Then it will be I who answers. I will give them the judgment they deserve.
The presence on the throne seemed to darken. The voice now rumbled like distant fire.
You speak of judgment, but are you prepared for the price?
I am.
Naraka answered.
You have made your decision then?
Yes,
You have pondered on this?
I have.
And still you would go?
I would.
There was silence again, then a long, heavy sigh, older than time.
Very well. You have free will, Naraka. Use it wisely.
Naraka bowed. As he turned to go, the voice called again, this time lighter, with a strange calm behind it.
I am bringing back the games.
Naraka paused, looking back slightly. The blood in his veins stirred.
You remember the last ones, the old arena, the screams, the glory?
Naraka smiled faintly.
Yes, I remember.
You were the champion.
I still am.
Then return to us, Naraka. When your task is done, the heavens are waiting.
Naraka's smile deepened. His eyes glowed like fire.
I will go, and I will come back.
He turned, his steps strong again. The throne room faded behind him, but the weight of heaven followed, and the eyes of God remained. Naya skipped into the compound, her eyes bright with excitement. "Chipo, Chipo, I heard you got a dog," she shouted, nearly tripping over her own feet. The little pup came bouncing out from the side of the hut like a ball of fur and joy, barking in pure delight as if she had known Naya her whole life. Naya crouched down, laughing as the dog licked her cheeks. "She's so cute." Chipo looked at the dog and shook her head. She had given it clear instructions that morning. "Dog, if you see someone you don't know, you bark at them. Do you understand?" It had barked in response, and she'd rewarded it with a treat. A wasted treat, she thought bitterly. Now here it was, wagging its tail and playing with Naya, a total stranger at least to the dog. "What do you call her?" Naya asked, giggling. Chipo froze. Her eyes darted left, then right, searching for inspiration. She had forgotten about the name. It had been a few days, and she'd just been calling her dog. But now her friend was looking at her expectantly. There was no escape. A name needed to be produced. Now. "Porridge," Chipo blurted out, wincing slightly. Jabali's loud laugh shot from the corner where he was carving the final touches on his axe. "Porridge," he repeated with a chuckle. Naya burst out laughing. "That is the strangest name for a dog I've ever heard, but I like it. It's weird, like you." Chipo smiled sheepishly. She's a bit clumsy, always spilling her water, bumping into walls. The girls laughed together, the name sticking without further protest. Porridge wagged her tail proudly, as if she knew she was now officially part of the family. Inside the hut, Akina stirred a pot quickly. The smell of garlic and maize filled the air, but her heart wasn't in it. Her feet itched. Her spirit was unsettled. She had to meet Kitapo in the forest. She didn't know how she would say it, how to ask her firstborn to sacrifice herself for Chipo, but she had no choice. She would have to try. Then the screams tore through the air. Akina dropped the spoon. Her blood ran cold. She rushed outside to see Chipo lying in the dirt, her body twisting violently. Her eyes were rolled back, pure white. Porridge barked wildly, running in circles. Jabali was at her side, shouting her name, shaking her gently, trying to bring her back. Naya knelt, screaming, "Chipo! Chipo!" But Chipo was gone. Somewhere else. Somewhere far. Akina's heart slammed in her chest. She couldn't move. She knew exactly what this was. It wasn't a sickness, it wasn't a seizure. It had begun. The Sisterhood had touched her, claimed her. It had started. And there was nothing Akina could do to stop it now. Her knees weakened, her breath shortened, her eyes stung with tears. But she couldn't let them fall, not now. Then, as suddenly as it began, the convulsing stopped. Chipo blinked, confused. "What happened, father?" Jabali pulled her into his chest. "We need to go to Zuberi. He'll give you some herbs. It was just a seizure," he said, though even his voice shook with worry. He turned to Akina, eyes pleading. "Akina, are you coming?" Akina stood frozen. Her eyes stayed on Chipo like stone. "No," she said quietly. "You go. Quickly, Jabali. Go to Zuberi. He will help her." Jabali did not hesitate. He lifted Chipo into his arms. "Let's go, my girl. You'll be fine." As they left, Akina stood in the dust, her breath shallow, her hands trembling. No roots, no herbs. No healer could fix what was coming. Only the forest held the answer now. Only Kitapo. And Akina ran the opposite direction. Kitapo stood at the edge of the palace courtyard, watching Mamiwata's chariot shimmer in the early light. The sea goddess was laughing, yes, laughing, with Lulenga, a sound so rare it nearly caused the fish to stop mid-swim. Lulenga was standing close, too close, murmuring things that made her swat his arm. "Lulenga, stop! People are watching," she said with a breathy giggle. Kitapo raised a brow. She didn't know whether to be impressed or concerned. Behind her, Mwamba cleared his throat and whispered, "If she giggles again, the sea might turn to milk." Kitapo stifled a laugh. "I heard she's never like this. Is this how royal diplomacy works? Flirting and smirking?" "Only when it's with a king as charming as your father," Mwamba replied, tossing her a wink. "Oh, please, Mwamba." "Father is not charming," Kitapo muttered. "If you say so," Mwamba said, with the smug smile of a man who knew too much. Mamiwata turned toward them, radiant and composed. "It was a pleasure to meet you both," she said with a nod that somehow felt like a royal blessing and a goodbye kiss in one. "Likewise," Kitapo replied, both she and Mwamba bowing low. And then, with a slow, sultry turn, she faced Lulenga. "And it was nice to meet you, really meet you." Without hesitation, Lulenga pulled her into a kiss. Gasps erupted nearby. She pulled back, whispering, "People are watching." "And do you care?" he asked, eyes locked with hers. She smiled. "Goodbye, Lulenga." Then, with a final look at Lulenga, a look that said much without saying anything, she disappeared into the horizon with the waves curling behind her like silk. Lulenga and Mwamba exchanged the kind of look that said, "We'll talk later." Kitapo rolled her eyes. She knew that look. It meant they were never going to tell her anything useful. "I need the elixir," she said flatly. "I'm meeting Mother." Mwamba blinked. "It's not Thursday yet. You only get 1 vial per week." "She came to me in my dreams, Mwamba." "That's new. You know how she is." "She wouldn't visit my dreams unless something is burning." Lulenga stepped forward. "Is everything all right?" "I don't know. That's why I need to go." Mwamba sighed and reached into his robe. "I shouldn't be doing this." He handed her a small vial. She popped it open and downed it in one swift gulp. Lulenga blinked. "You didn't even wince." "She's getting used to it," Mwamba said suspiciously. "That was either a different elixir or you've diluted it." Mwamba shrugged. "Who can tell?" Lulenga opened his mouth to ask what it tasted like, but Kitapo was already gone. Akina waited in the forest, pacing. Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. She didn't know how to say it, what she was about to ask of her daughter. When Kitapo arrived, she was slightly breathless. "Sorry I'm late, Mother," she said, brushing twigs from her dress. "I had to see Mummy Wata off." Akina tilted her head. "Mummy Wata? Not your boyfriend?" Kitapo groaned. "He's not my boyfriend, Mother." "Then what did she want?" Kitapo hesitated. A marriage proposal between her and Father. Akina's heart dropped. "What?" "She wants to unite the kingdoms. And your father." I think he accepted." Akina's face hardened. "Accepted?" Without even knowing her. "This is madness." "Well," Kitapo said gently, "we royals do not always marry for love. You know that." Akina shook her head. "This isn't about politics. It's about—" She stopped. This wasn't the time. She fell silent, thinking. Kitapo studied her mother. "You came to me in my dreams. What's going on?" Akina breathed in deeply. "A few nights ago I had visitors. 3 women. Witches." Kitapo was quiet, listening. "They are from the Sisterhood. My bloodline. My mother before me. And hers before her. They've come for Chipo." Kitapo's brows lifted. "Why Chipo? Isn't it always the first daughter?" "Yes, that would have been you, but they can't reach you. You belong to the deep. They said Chipo will bleed on the next full moon, and once she does, if she has not been initiated, the gift will curse her. And it has already started. She just had a seizure. My mother protected me from this fate. I want to protect her too." Kitapo narrowed her eyes. "Why? What's so bad about power?" "There is nothing wrong with it. It's neither good nor evil. But I do not trust the Sisterhood and their intentions." Kitapo leaned in. "So why are you telling me this?" Akina swallowed hard. "I went to Nyala. She said, if the first daughter accepts the gift, the second will be freed." Kitapo blinked. "You want me to accept it? Become a witch?" Akina hesitated. "Yes." Silence fell. Only the leaves dared to stir. Then Kitapo spoke softly. "So let me get this straight. In the next full moon, Chipo will bleed, and you want to stop that initiation from happening, so the gift must go somewhere, to me." "Yes," Akina whispered. Kitapo was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded once. "Yes, I will do it." Akina blinked, stunned. "You don't want to think about it for a night or two?" "You said it yourself, Mother. Power is power. It's not good or bad, it just is. Nyala is powerful. She's respected. I don't mind being like her. I was raised by Mwamba, a powerful healer. He's feared and loved. And I'm tired of being just a princess." She smiled faintly. "But a witch princess? Now that's a title worth having." Akina's eyes filled with tears. "You're sure?" "Yes. Should we tell your father?" Kitapo shook her head. He'll say no. I'll tell Mwamba. He'll help. Akina exhaled. All right, I'll speak to Nyala. She will prepare the ceremony. I also need to ask you for something, Mother. Akina froze mid-thought. Her breath caught before she turned slowly to face Kitapo. What is it, my child? Kitapo hesitated for a moment. Her voice softened, but there was steel beneath it. I want to meet my sister. I want to know her, to have a real relationship with her. Akina felt the words like a tide crashing over her. She had always known this day would come, feared it even, but the knowing didn't make it any easier. I want to meet her before the ceremony, Kitapo added quietly. Maybe Thursday, before everything changes. Akina's heart twisted. There was no anger in Kitapo's voice, no accusation, just longing. And something else, a fragile hope she hadn't heard from her daughter before. For a long moment, Akina said nothing. So many emotions warred inside her: guilt, fear, love. She would have to explain everything to Chipo, unravel secrets carefully buried in silence, but Kitapo had every right to ask, to want this. Akina drew a slow breath, then nodded. Okay, she said softly. You can meet her. Kitapo didn't smile, but there was a quiet relief in her eyes. Akina watched her daughter, realizing perhaps that this wasn't just a request. It was a turning point, and nothing would be the same after Thursday. Then Kitapo stepped forward and hugged her mother, and for a long while Akina just held her, her arms trembling, her eyes wet. She didn't know if she was saving one daughter or damning another, but the decision was made. The torch had found its bearer, and there was no turning back now. A deep resonant sound shook the currents. The Snake Queen had arrived. Ziva stood waiting, his robes flowing around him like waves. The crowd gathered, murmuring with excitement and curiosity. The procession came into view, moving with regal pace. A delegation of snake people, proud and coiled in their elegance. 4 women walked in, their faces covered, dressed in identical ceremonial robes. When they reached Ziva, they knelt. A snake woman stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. Ziva, you have married from our people. We bring you your wife. But our people must know. Do you know your wife? Ziva raised an eyebrow. You think I wouldn't know my own bride? If you do not, she continued, we take her back. To not know her is to insult our people. Choose wisely. The crowd gasped. Oh, this was serious. A game with high stakes. Ziva grinned. His kind of game. He swam around the kneeling women slowly, hands clasped behind his back. Let me see. He stroked his chin, stopping at the first woman. Definitely not this one. He waved a hand. My heart doesn't race when I look at her, and he gestured vaguely. Her bosoms are not as generous as my wife's. The crowd roared with laughter. Lunga, standing in the corner, rolled his eyes and promptly walked out. This man, he muttered, no decorum. A clown in a crown. Disrespectful. Obscene. A king should have dignity. But Ziva was a spectacle. The first woman removed her hood and smiled. The crowd roared with applause, but Ziva played on, circling woman number 2. Now this one, slightly bent in the back. Good posture is everything in a wife. That's what they say. He leaned in. And my wife, she smells like river lilies. This one smells like, well, courage. But not lilies. More laughter. The woman removed her hood. Not Amina. Ziva smirked. Thank you for playing. Only 2 women remained. The tension climbed. The drums beat slowly. He circled again. One of the robes shifted, and for a split second, he saw it. A snake, slithering beneath the fabric. He smiled. Found you. Still, he turned to the other woman first. This one, an untrained eye would say it is her. But I am trained in the art of war and lovemaking. The crowd roared with so much laughter, the room trembled for a bit. Let's see if I'm wrong, he said, lifting her hood. Not Amina. The crowd gasped, then erupted with applause. Finally, he turned to the last woman and pulled back her hood. There she was, Akina, laughing, cheeks glowing, her smile radiant. She reached out and touched his face. "You are unbearable," she whispered, laughing. "This is my wife," Ziva declared. The hall shook with celebration. He kissed her deeply, the crowd roaring like a storm. But even as he held her, his eyes flicked to the doors. Waiting. Akina noticed. Of course she did. "Darling," she murmured, her voice light but her eyes sharp. "Are we expecting someone?" "No," Ziva lied smoothly. "No one." But in his mind, he saw her. Mami Wata. He imagined the doors bursting open, her voice cutting through the revelry. "Stop this." He imagined swimming to her, pulling her into the shadows, pressing her against the wall. "You haven't lost me," he'd whisper, kissing her until her anger melted. But she didn't come. The doors remained empty. Had she meant it? That he had lost her? That she would find another? The thought burned. "Come," he said to Akina. "I want to show you something." They slipped away from the crowd, laughter still trailing behind them. He led her through quiet halls to a chamber with walls of polished coral and glowing stones. Statues lined the walls. "This is the room of kings and queens," he said. "Not many have seen this. Every king and queen in our history is here." Amina's eyes widened. "It's beautiful. And here," he said, pointing, "my statue. And next to it, yours, already commissioned, already begun, the first snake queen of the sea." She covered her mouth with her hands. "Truly." Then he added, "Well, not the first." Her smile dropped. "What?" "Come," he said, guiding her further. There, standing quietly in the far corner, was a statue of another woman. Snakes on her head. Grace in her stance. Akina gasped. "Who is she?" Ziva stared at the statue. "You know her," he said. "Asa." Amina's eyes filled with recognition. "Asa?" He nodded. She was never crowned, never married, but she and the first Ziva were madly in love. He begged her to marry him. She refused, said the sea and land must stay apart. But he never stopped loving her, so he had this statue made, to remember. Then Akina saw it. Another statue, a third figure, a queen beside the first Ziva, and Asa on the other side. Ziva whispered, "He married another, but his heart remained divided." Akina turned to him, a tremble in her voice. "Is that why you married me? To do what your ancestor could not? To finish what he started?" He met her eyes. Truth hovered in his silence. "Maybe," he said. "Maybe part of me did. But I also love you. Truly." He kissed her, soft and slow, and she melted, not fully comforted but held. In his heart, two fires burned, one named Akina, one named Mami Wata. He wanted both, loved both, in different ways, because in his mind, love wasn't simple. He looked at the statues of Asa, the great Ziva, and his queen. Maybe history could repeat itself. But deep down, he knew this. Akina was his queen. Mami Wata was his storm. But now he wasn't sure if she still wanted him at all. And that uncertainty ached. But tonight only one woman had come, and so he held Akina close and waited for the ghost of another love to disappear. And that, my dear tribe, brings us to the end of another chapter in our Lions, People, Mermaids and Witches series. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. This week, the god of the universe summoned Naraka for an audience. Why must he go to his people, he wonders. But Naraka remains defiant. He is their god. If they call, he will answer. Yet we also learn that Naraka is the reigning champion of the celestial games. And the games are returning. But will he ever return to them? That remains to be seen. Meanwhile, in Makuru village, Chipo, at long last, names her dog Porridge, though not without pressure. But something darker is unfolding. The witches have touched her, and now the signs are unmistakable. The next full moon is almost upon us. Beneath the waves, Mami Wata and Lulenga exchange flirtations and laughter, to Kitapo's astonishment and Mamba's lack of surprise. One kiss and they part. But not all is well. Deep in the forest, Akina meets with Kitapo. She's troubled by the union of Mamiwata and Lulenga. She reveals the truth about the witches and what's coming for Chipo. Kitapo listens and agrees to accept the witch's gift, but only on one condition. She wants to meet her sister before the ritual. Far below the realm of the snake people, Ziva receives his bride. Their customs are sacred, but Ziva, ever the showman, puts on a grand display. Lunga is unimpressed. Still, the people rejoice. Ziva has found his bride. Yet in the back of his mind, Mamiwata lingers. We also discover a forgotten truth. Amina was not the first to capture a mermaid king's heart. That honor belonged to Asa. As Ziva walks his path, one wonders, does he seek love or to relive the legacy of the great Ziva before him? And if so, what trouble might that cause? We'll just have to wait and see. Until then, stay wild, stay curious, and stay ready for what's to come. A big shout out to a friend of the channel, Angel, for the generous $5 super thanks. Thank you so much for your support. And another heartfelt thank you to Tajwana Jones 2126 for your generous $5 super thanks as well. I truly appreciate you both. May the gods you hold dear bless you with good health and good fortune. Your support means the world to me. Want to support the channel and become an even bigger part of our tribe? You can join for as little as the cost of a coffee each month. Your support helps me continue creating the content you love, but of course, just having you here is already more than enough. Thank you for being part of this journey. To those of you who have already joined the tribe, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are truly the heartbeat of this channel. And as always, thank you for watching our story, and we hope you enjoyed it. What lessons did you draw from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the tribe. Thank you for watching The Tales of the Savannah. We will see you next time in the Savannah.